right, guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Chris Donaldson Project. This is your host, the Chris Donaldson, and I want to welcome you guys to this project or experiment, which is really an all-new venture for us. It's a podcast. It's also being simulcast on YouTube as a video. You can catch it on Facebook as a video. So we're super excited about this. We're only on episode 3, and it's been a lot of fun for me. And the reason is, for those of you that don't know me real quick, I call myself the Chris Donaldson because that's the website. It's also the Instagram handle. It's the Facebook handle. It's where you can find me on the internet. So don't be confused between any of those other Chris Donaldsons. There's only one, the Chris Donaldson. And for quite a while now, we've been putting out content. Specifically, one of our most popular ventures has been the live show that's on YouTube. We've also simulcast it live on Facebook, as well as some episodes on even Instagram Live and Periscope. And Office Hours was focused on real estate and real estate sales and marketing. And the reason we did it live was because of Q&A. Well, so the Chris Donaldson Project here is going to allow me to expand what we talk about a little bit more. So if you're in leadership, this is the podcast for you. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you're running the household, first of all, respect. And second of all, this is the podcast for you. If you're running a family business, if you're involved in a family business, this is the podcast for you. Small business, this is for you. Marketing, this is for you. Because what I can tell you is there's a lot of lessons and a lot of things that I've done in my career in building our education and training companies, as well as all of the various lessons I've had to learn as a young leader. And what I'd like to do is make sure that, number one, you guys can learn from my mistakes. You can learn from the things that I've done in the past and therefore avoid them and fast forward through them. But secondly, I want to share with you all of the important things that we do right. And I want you to understand what makes a company like ours different from the rest. I want you guys to win. I want you to succeed. I want to see everybody out there get what it is that you want or that you need. And so here, we're all about sharing the information, breaking down the barriers between the information that you need to succeed and the actual success that you desire, with the only thing in between them is a little bit of good old-fashioned effort. So behind the ones and twos, I'm here with my man, Art. I haven't seen Art in a little bit because I'm just getting back from being out of town. How you doing, my man?
I'm well. How's the trip?
I was good.
Yeah, man.
It was good. So I just got back yesterday, and I'm already just fuming and ready to get back to work. So it was my annual 10 days off the grid, refresh time. So number one, I want to address those of you that are like, oh man, I don't take vacations. Yeah, well, I haven't taken one in 4 years. So this was my first one in 4 years. I took 10 days. I think I earned that. And secondly, Art, you could probably, in fact, you know this because I hit you up with a couple of messages.
Definitely.
The whole chill out and do nothing and think about nothing and all of that, I can do that for a grand total of about a day, maybe 2, and then I need to do something. So I was actually a lot more active and busy and workmanlike, even if we're talking just sailing boats and running around, the wildlife and snorkeling, you name it, as opposed to sitting in a beach chair and doing nothing, because I can't handle it, man. I thought I could, but I can't. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all.
Because you got hit up with some messages, didn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Every now and then I would just have an idea, and I'm like, I have to tell Art this right now, and so there it went.
I think that's what happens when you love your work, when you're passionate about your mission.
Yeah, I think so. I think that when you're really enjoying what you're doing, you don't need to take a vacation from it. But I think a change of scenery, I think it's healthy. Look, I love the water. I love the climate. And I love being out on the water. So there's nothing wrong with that. So honestly, one of the things that you're hearing out there a lot is, I work 24 hours a day and I'm never going to stop and all of that. Well, that's cool. That sounds good. Well, first of all, it's impossible because you got to sleep. You're not the Terminator. You're not a robot. And secondly, it's not healthy. because at some point you've got to rest. You've got to sleep. You've got to eat right. You got to take care of yourself. It's part of the formula. And so for me, taking care of myself, part of that is taking care of my personal life, right? Being able to go and spend some time with the person I care about most and giving her all of my attention for 10 days. She deserves that. Nothing wrong with that. And I think that makes her happy. And guess what? She starts spilling out ideas to me as she's reading books. Y'all should do this and check this out. And this is what I thought. So it's just an interesting experiment. In other words, there's no right or wrong way. So stop putting things into like these firm boxes where people say you should never do this or you should always do that. Because instantly what they're doing is projecting their own opinion on you and trying to make you live the way they think that they should live. And oftentimes they're not even living the way they're trying to tell you to live. But I do have one story real quick from when I was gone. And that is, you just mentioned, Art, about loving your work.
Yeah.
Well, I met this guy that's extremely wealthy in about 4 or 5 businesses. So literally just one of those. We're sitting at the tiki bar or whatever you may be, right there on the beach, just enjoying a nice midday beverage with lunch, as you're supposed to do when you're out on vacation. And I got into conversation with this particular gentleman. Turns out he owns the joint. And this is like his side business. But he's there every single day. He greeted me when we walked in the door, had said hello, suggested what we should order, let him know if we have any questions. The guy, this is like his 4th or 5th. It's his side business, but clearly it's his passion. So guess what? It's not work to him. It was really interesting. He sat there with us, had lunch. We talked business. We joked. He originally is from the States, and we just talked about all sorts of things. I met his wonderful wife, who also works hard, runs one of his businesses. And what was interesting to me was, again, like you said, when you love it, you don't have to get away from it. And it's something that I talk about all the time, but it doesn't mean that it was unhealthy for me to just need to take a deep breath, because sometimes I've got so many ideas and things going on in my head. I just need time to decompress and maybe get them in order on a piece of paper. So it was good, but I'm excited to be back to work. Although at the time that you guys listen to this, hopefully everything will be fine. But we've got tropical storm or hurricane. Is it a hurricane yet?
It's a hurricane.
It's a hurricane?
Right now, they're saying it's going to land at a Category 1.
So Hurricane Gordon is bearing down on the Gulf Coast here where we are. And so everybody, in all sincerity, whenever this happens, the likelihood that we are going to be safe and sound, that everything's going to be fine, that all is going to be well is very, very high. However, the lessons are learned from things like Hurricane Katrina and so on, that you take everyone seriously and just be glad when nothing happens. So we're recording this podcast, and then I know my man Art is getting out here to go button down the hatches. I'm going to go take care of a few things. We just closed the office, so we're here alone because we want to make sure that we meet our commitment to you guys to have brand new content for you every single week. So thank you guys for listening. One of the new features, so we're only on episode 3 here.
Right.
And one of the things that I really want to do is recognize, thank, and acknowledge those of you that are listening and watching across the web and wherever you consume your podcast. Y'all are already rolling in with reviews and comments. And I want to acknowledge you guys and give you a few reviews and thank you for taking the time. So first of all, on iTunes, thank you to Mr. D. Gray III. He said, he left 5 stars and said, Chris is always pumping out amazing down-to-earth content we can all relate to, while inspiring Saul to reach for that not-so-distant next level he wants us to join him on. So, my man, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm so glad that you're listening. From Martha, the realtor, she said, Chris is putting himself out there to help people find their way faster to success. So, Martha, yes, I am. I'm not afraid. And thank you so much. I'm super glad that you're listening. From Facebook, Michael left me a private message that said he just wanted to say that I'm inspirational. I've been watching your videos, and in the last 30 days, I've watched one after one after one after a year of feeling like there was nothing out there. I am motivated and inspired. You keep it real, and I just want to say thank you. I'm from San Francisco and found you on YouTube. So Michael, my man, I hope you find the project. I hope you're here. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for taking the couple of seconds to send that, because it means something to me. It means everything to me. And finally, there's Laura. And Laura is getting into the real estate business. Obviously, one of our main companies here is a real estate training company and licensing and exam prep. And Laura said, I found you on YouTube. I love your teaching style. I'm from Minnesota. Why aren't you here? And all I can say, Laura, is thank you. I love you. And soon. And after that, let's get on to the content for today's show. So Art, we thought it would be a good idea for episode 3 to do a little bit of Q&A, because I appreciate you guys so much. All of you guys out there, you're consuming on more platforms than ever, and our goal is to be where you are. So whether you're on Instagram or YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of the podcast audio engines, you guys are leaving questions, you're emailing them. And so we wanted to collect a few and do a pure Q&A episode here. And just so that you guys know, I love Q&A because it's my way of helping you one by one by one by one. And it's the reason we did our original webcast, Office Hours, live. Because not only can you not fake it live, because I could totally mess up here and then Art could cut it out, but we tried not to edit at all because that's what I'm used to. But secondly, we wanted to always be able to take your questions, because I do these shows and we're producing this content for you. That's the deal. So we've got a couple of questions here, and the way we do Q&As, I really don't know what Art's about to bring to me. So whatever's at top of mind and whatever I really think, that's what you guys are going to hear. So Art, fire away, my man.
All right. Stephanie from Facebook asks, business is not good right now. May need to find a job. Lead gen is not yielding results right now. Sphere, Facebook, email campaigns, snail mail, open houses, you name it, I've been doing it. What can I do, or what am I missing?
Wow. Okay, so that was Stephanie from Facebook, right?
From Facebook.
Stephanie, thank you so much for your question, and I appreciate what you're going through. And she mentioned what she's doing, sphere of influence, emails. She said open houses. Now we know she's in real estate, right? What else is she doing?
Snail mail.
Snail mail. Anything else?
No, that's all she listed.
Okay. So Stephanie, first of all, I want you to know that from the sounds of your question, you are talking about something I know really well, which is obviously the business of real estate. And it sounds to me, now I could be wrong, but it sounds to me like you might be relatively new. Maybe your first 2 to 3 years in the business, maybe even newer than that. And there's something that you'll hear me say all the time. And for those of you that are not in real estate, but are in sales or starting a business, listen closely. Most of you quit a second too soon. Like literally right before everything that you want is about to happen, you go ahead and you quit. You give up. You stop doing what you're doing when you don't even realize it's working. So something I want to share with you, I'm still an active real estate consultant, but really real estate training and education is one of our main companies here. And I was an active real estate broker and salesperson for a long time. I know the business really well. So the one thing I'll share with you is the sales cycle is something all of you need to know. You need to know the sales cycle in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's real estate or whether it's insurance or you're selling cars. I don't care what it is that you're doing. You need to know your sales cycle, which means what in general, like how far in advance does somebody start the shopping stage, the looking stage, the inquiry stage, and then when do they get into the decision-making stage? See, you guys, when you are shopping for a house, let's just talk about this. If you're realtors out there, you know this. So Stephanie, you know this. And if you're a consumer that's not a real estate agent, you know this as well. When do you start looking at houses online? You start looking 3, 6, maybe even a year, 3 to 6 months or maybe even a year before you actually are ready to pull the trigger and buy a house. So realtors out there, I need you to understand something. We're in this instant gratification culture. So Art, we know that, right? I mean, we're dealing with all this content. Everybody wants everything now.
Oh, of course.
They want it yesterday. They want it immediately. We want to push a button on our phones and I want to have it work. But what you've got to realize is that if you're dealing with the sales cycle of real estate, you may send an email to someone that's the right person at the wrong time. And so giving up is where the problem is, because you may have been just 2 or 3 months before they actually bought a house, but you were like, these emails don't work, or the Sphere stuff doesn't work, or my snail mail doesn't work. And what I'm telling you guys is that you've got to know your sales cycle, and then you've got to be persistent. And then the second thing I'll share with you is that when you talk about Sphere marketing, I want to know how many people are in your Sphere. How many people are on your email list? How many people are on your snail mail list? The second thing you all need to know is more is better. So the second thing is, if you don't feel like it's working, you need more people on your list. So you need to reach out to more. You need to contact more. You need to find ways to get people into your database more. So without knowing how she's doing Sphere marketing or what she's doing with her emails and snail mail, Stephanie, what I would tell you is don't give up. Honey, do not give up. Real estate is one of the best businesses there is. Agents are doing more business and making more money in most markets than ever before at the time we're recording this. I love real estate. I have threatened to get back into it if people didn't do the things that I told them on office hours. So what I'll share with you is 2 things. Not knowing anything. One is increase the size of your list. Have you sat down and listed out your sphere of influence? Like literally start at your inner family, your inner circle, right? So who are your sisters, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your living relatives? If you have a spouse, your spouse, who they're related to, who's your inner family? Then go out to friends, close friends, best friends, people you know. Then go out to acquaintances, people that you work with, people that you've done business with in the past. See, maybe you haven't sat down and intentionally seen how many people are on your sphere. And I'll give you a hint. This is how you know you haven't done it. If your Facebook friends list is bigger than your database, you haven't done this right. If your Facebook friends list is bigger than the database you have to market to, you haven't done this right. Because if you're Facebook friends with someone, then why don't you connect with them? Get their contact information. You know, they're your friend. You accepted their friend request or made one. So that's usually a sign. So sit down and make a list. And the second thing I would do is double the amount of action, triple the amount of action. Try different things. So if you sent a postcard, when you say you did snail mail, I don't know what you did. I mean, it's kind of a difficult question. But if you sent a postcard, send a different one and do it again in 3 months. If you sent an email, look at your open rate. Send another one. Because if people are interested in buying, what are they interested in receiving from you? Houses, buying information, financing. Email them. Because think about yourself as a consumer. You're probably shopping or looking way before you're actually going to make the call. And then that's the sales cycle. And the second part is, I want you to understand, don't feel bad for reaching out more often. Because remember, the best thing about real estate that I love the most, especially if you're going after listings, is I'm selling you on how I'm going to sell your house by how I sell myself. And if I'm persistent and I show skills and I'm using multiple mediums, that's the person I want to list my house. Do not be afraid. Do not presume the other person doesn't want to hear from you until they say so. And then that might not even mean no, just not right now. So Stephanie, increase your database and do more stuff. That's the 2 things that I would say. If you feel like you're doing it all and you hear this, contact me. I want to hear exactly what you're doing. All right. So hopefully that helps there. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Art, you've heard me say this a lot, but most people's level of action just isn't matching what they think.
Right.
And she said all those different things. She might be dabbling in a whole bunch rather than focusing on 1 or 2 that'll really work. So maybe she's trying a little bit of everything. This is just something that came to mind. Maybe she's trying a little bit of everything. Well, I'll try a mail campaign. Then I'll try an email campaign. Then I'll go ahead and do a little bit of Facebook. And then I'll try sphere marketing. I don't even know what that means without details on what she's doing with her sphere of influence. So sometimes you're dabbling in too much and you need to really go all in on just a couple of things. And a couple of things should be where the majority of your business comes from, which in most sales, but definitely real estate, your sphere of influence, your friends and family, people that have done business with you before. All right, my man, let's get on to the second one.
Well, just to round that last bit out,
Yeah.
I think tracking everything, just you know where you're getting hits from, and where to put your efforts into.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. So Art's getting like a PhD in sales and marketing here by running around with me, but that's a really good point, and I didn't want to belabor it. But the second thing I would suggest to Stephanie is, if she's not already doing it, however many real estate sales she's got, so take the last year, take year to date, track them all. Where did they come from? If you don't know where your business is coming from, you are going to struggle because you don't even know where to advertise. You don't know where to fish. So maybe you got a great pole and awesome bait and the wrong fishing hole. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So that's a great point. That's something that I'm super serious about, is that you should track your activity. So whatever you're selling cars, where'd they come from? Was everyone a dealer walk-in? Was it internet lead? Was it a personal friend? Was it a recommendation? You should know where all your sales come from. And you should be emphasizing the things that are working and maybe drop the stuff that isn't. So great point, my man. I appreciate that. All right, let's get on to the second question. Let's answer as many in our time that we can here.
Yeah, so we've got Lauren from Facebook says, while I super enjoyed your class, I took away a bit, but I was intrigued by the single mom that you mentioned. I feel like I may be able to take some notes on how to manage everything as a single mom myself. So I guess what I'm asking is, how can I grow my business and have time for my kids, family, and a personal life too? I feel like I'm already at my limit.
Yeah, wow. And where was it? Who was that, Lauren?
Lauren from Facebook.
Lauren from Facebook. Well, first of all, like I say at the beginning of a lot of these podcasts, respect. Single moms, and hey, single dads, single parents, people that adopt children. If you're doing this on your own and you're doing all of the providership, respect. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter who the other person is. It's not about that. I respect you. You are doing what you have to do to provide for your family. And so your time, what I hear, is stretched. So what this really is a time management / growth / quality of life issue. That's what it sounds like to me. Because actually, I get this question pretty often. She said she was in my class, so I may have to look up it. And so, Lauren, thank you for reaching out on the podcast. Or where'd you say, Facebook?
Facebook.
Awesome. So I teach a class about time management, and you hear that term, but the number one thing I'm going to tell you is time management is a myth. You use time efficiently. You can use time correctly for the right things or incorrectly. And so what Lauren is dealing with is what a lot of people are dealing with. Look, even if you're not a single mom or a single parent or any of those things, we're all dealing with the same thing. Life pulls us in a million different directions. Some of us, we want to do it all. Some of us feels like we can't even get started at the beginning of the day. And somebody like her, she sounds like she's successful, and now she wants to actually grow, but she doesn't have the time. And furthermore, she's probably feeling the pressure, depending on how old her kids are, or just being a mom and just actually being a human. She probably wants a personal life too, to live as a human, right? Just like when I go on vacation, listen, I don't want to hear anybody talk about, oh, he doesn't work. Come work my schedule, and then let's talk. For 4 years, then you could take your 10 days. You know, I don't know why I'm so defensive about that, but it's just so funny. I guess it's because all you go to hashtag like hustle and I work 24/7. Then I'm afraid of you because you're an android. But anyway, back to Lauren's issue. I respect it and understand it a lot. So in my experience, I can only share with you kind of what I've seen, what I know. And one of the things that I shared, I think that she's referenced in my class, is that I give a lot of examples of successful people that have all sorts of personal life situations. And one of them happens to be a friend of mine that's a single mother that runs a very successful business. She brings her kids to school every day and she picks them up every day, which means she annihilates the day between whatever that is, 8 and 3. And so I learned a lot from watching her. I've also seen dads do this. I saw my dad do this when I was growing up, because coming from a divorced family, when I was with mom, she had to do it. When I was with dad, he had to do it. Both of them would make it happen with all of their responsibilities. I see this. So number one, I will tell you, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Do understand that your situation is pretty typical, and we all at some point in life have a lot of things that we have to take care of. And so it comes into prioritization, and it also comes into, when you look at the business question, it's time for a system or an assistant. So I want y'all to hear that again. If you want to grow your business and you don't have any more time, well, then you either need a system, you need to put a system in place. And if you already have one, then you might need an assistant. Because whether you're selling real estate or you're selling cars, very few businesses out there, you're in retail, you're an insurance agent, you're doing these things that are personal, one-to-one. There's comes a point where there's a limit in the amount of stuff you can do yourself. So I'll give you a great example. Just think about our training and education companies. There comes a point where I can't teach every class. This company would fail to grow if I had to teach every single class. Like when this podcast goes out there, we'll have I'm going off the top of my head, at least 4 to 5 locations going with instructors and programs, in addition to online things and all of these various courses. Guys, I can't teach all those. And I don't need the bravado to do that. So I need to find people, train them, inspire them, good people, quality people, so that we can expand. So, Lauren, likely what you need to do is a couple of things. I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of advice. First thing is I want you to do what I call the 24-hour challenge. So I suggest this whenever somebody says, I don't have enough time. Okay, let's prove it. So here's the 24-hour challenge. And I suggest all of you guys do it. It's really simple, but it's really painful. So I don't have time. Let's take business out of it. Somebody's not working out, not taking care of their body, not exercising. And what is the number one reason people say, I don't have time? Okay, let's find out. Here's the 24-hour challenge. Track every minute of your day, what you're doing, where you are for 24 hours. One day. So, for example, you wake up. What time was that? What time did you actually get out of bed? That's a different time for a lot of people. So your alarm goes off, you snooze it, you turn on the TV, and you watch 30 minutes of the morning news. Track that. This isn't to make you feel bad. This is to figure out what you're doing with 24 hours. So then what time do you actually put feet on the ground out of bed, right? What time and how long does it take you to get ready? Right? So your morning routine to get ready, getting dressed, getting showered, getting the kids ready, whatever it is, how long does that take you? Just track it, just that day. And then what time do you actually walk out the door? Get in your car. Then how long do you sit in traffic? What's the commute? How long does it take to go to carpool through that process? Then what time do you actually get to work? I mean, just one day. A lot of you out there already know at this point you're going to go, shoot, I'm finding time. And if not, do it for 24 hours. Literally, just be disciplined. You took a break to go smoke a cigarette. First of all, you're wasting time. Second of all, how long was your cigarette break? How long was your YouTube break at the office? Track that stuff. How long did it take you to go to lunch? How long were you, anything that you're doing, track it for 24 hours. Then when did I get back in the car? How long did it take me to get home or to pick up the kids? Then minute by minute, what did I do when I got home? Like seriously, I had to go take the dogs for a walk. Okay, how long does that take? And then I sat down and got ready to cook dinner. Okay, well, getting ready, what does that involve? How long did that take? What did you do? Sit down and relax for 30 minutes and watch TV? I don't know, but do this for 24 hours. Then what time did you actually go to bed where your day was over? And so what I'm sharing with you is if you sleep healthy 8 hours, which is what's suggested, okay? So that leaves you 16 hours where you're awake. 16 hours, what'd you do at that time? And so the 24-hour challenge is so important because what you will likely identify is something that's wasting time, and you'll actually find time. So it's not meant to make you feel bad. Like the person that says, I don't have time to go work out, maybe you'll realize, dude, I thought I watched Netflix for 30 minutes a night, and I watch it for 2 hours. Look, it's just a check with me thing. Because that person, I would say, take an hour of that Netflix if you just have to watch it and put it on the treadmill. Now you're watching an hour of Netflix that you need to do and you're on the treadmill. Boom, now you're being efficient. Or you might identify, wow, I sit in traffic I'm in the car a lot longer than I thought every day. Maybe I need to change my route. Maybe I need to leave earlier. or even leave later, maybe that's the issue. Or maybe you will self-identify and become aware that you're wasting time. If not, so let's assume Lauren's not wasting any time. She's wall to wall. She's got kids. She's running a business. She's wall to wall. The 24-hour challenge is still important because then second, she's going to see what takes up the majority of her time. Because once you see what takes up the majority of your time, if you're trying to grow a business, you want to find out, are you spending a lot of time on something that can be delegated to somebody else? Are you spending a lot of time on something that can be systemized? Are you spending a lot of time on something that is completely ridiculous and actually doesn't grow your business? And why in the heck am I doing this? Because maybe you just always done it. And finally, let's take the business person. What you want to take with that 24-hour challenge is you need to know your business and what makes money, what produces income, and what doesn't. And then what you need to decide is, am I spending enough of my 16 hours a week doing the things that produces income so I can grow? Or am I servicing the business that I have? Or am I just doing busy work because I've always done it? You know, like a real estate agent. Am I running around showing all the houses to all the buyers and that takes forever when likely my assistant could do some of that? So what you want to do is the 24-hour challenge will identify things. So for you time wasters out there, look, I was one of those. That's why I'm passionate about it. I mean, I had a fantasy football addiction. Art, do you play fantasy?
Not anymore. Not since,
not anymore.
Not since college.
Not since college. Okay. Well, I'm in like one league, I think, that's been with my high school friends that we've been in forever, right? It's just fun. I used to be in like 12. And I didn't realize how much time I was wasting every week on fantasy football. It seemed nonsensical. But it really wasn't 12, but it's probably 5 leagues. You take 5 leagues. How long does it take to set your lineup? Oh, research the players. Oh, do all these various things. And I realized, man, I was wasting a lot of time. The second thing is I was operating a business as an executive in my mid-20s, and I had season tickets to all our local sports teams. The Saints, the Hornets at the time, the now Pelicans, the LSU Tigers, I think the minor league baseball team, and some of it was to entertain clients, some of it was to give away as gifts, but some of it was for me. And I realized, dude, do you need to go to every game, even if the client's there? Think about all the time that I might be spending at all these local sports teams. It's okay to cut some of that out. I realized that by spending my entire weekend in a sports stadium, I was wasting a lot of time. So for me, I've been there. And then the second part is, okay, now what am I doing business-wise with my day? And so I don't know what business Lauren is in, but I will tell you this. You need to know what makes money. And you need to either take the stuff that's taking up all of your time that's like servicing your business. So as an example, here's where the assistant comes in. At some point for our business to grow, I needed instructors in the classroom and I needed more people on the phones. I couldn't answer every incoming call because I'm the best customer service rep here, and teach every class because I'm the best teacher here, and do all the marketing because I'm the best marketer here. I got to give up something to grow. And so what you need to identify is what can you give up and delegate to get time? And is that a system? Like, for instance, if you're spending all day with emails, maybe you need a time block, or maybe it's time to get an assistant. And I can tell you, in almost any business, you've got a whole lot of people out there looking for work, whole lot of people out there looking for internships, whole lot of people out there that are looking for side hustles and jobs and will help you. And so what you need to really identify is, what am I spending my time on? What makes me money? And then, do I need a system? And if I have one, then I can get an assistant. Because you know what you need to realize? If you hire someone, you can fire them if they don't work out. Don't think that, oh, bringing this person in, I'm stuck with them for life. So Lauren, I totally respect what you're going through. And I think that you need to sit down and do the business analysis. I think the 24-hour challenge for you is incredibly important. Being efficient with your time is important. How much time do you want with your kids? Do you need with your kids? And if you grow, what are you going to need to do? And what are other people going to need to do? So it's like more people or be more efficient. It's the same old story. So Lauren, I hope that helps you, and respect. I appreciate what you're doing, and best wishes to you.
No, just off the top of your head, you mentioned systems. Just off the top of your head,
Yeah.
What kind of systems would you recommend?
Well, the number one, for instance, is busy work. And I call busy work things like email and filing and paperwork and mail. And I'm a big believer in time blocking. So by scheduling my day in advance, I guess the biggest thing is I take control of my day at the beginning rather than letting the day control me. So the way I do that is I wake up before everybody. I take care of myself first, which means do my mindfulness, work out, read, whatever it is that I want to do, play with my dog, take him for a walk, whatever I need to do in the morning to where I'm good. And then I can take care of everyone else. And the second is, to the best of my ability, I try to schedule out my day and I always front load it. So front loading means what's the most critical, important things for my business to go forward today. Those are at the beginning of my list before the rest of the stuff comes at me to take over my day. Because guess what? My grandpa was one of those that was a military vet and used to get up super early. He'd be like, I get more done by 7 a.m. than most people get done all day. Yeah, because he woke up at like 3 a.m. But what he was also instilling there was he gets stuff done when everybody else is asleep. So when they wake up and start causing him problems, he can handle them. And I learned from that. And I try to do the same thing. So for a lot of you, the reality is you just need to get up earlier. Right? And so my number one thing is find more time. And number two, Art, to answer your question, is I'm a big believer in time blocking and blocking out like this podcast time here because it's important to us and nothing else is going to get in the way of that, and protecting that time unless it's an emergency because everybody else's stuff usually can wait a little while and you'll get to it. That's my biggest thing. I think we spend time being busy and not productive. And I don't know Lauren's business or what she's doing, but I bet she can find time. And likely it's time for her to bring in another person that she can delegate tasks to so she can find more time to grow. That's probably the most likely thing because people are allergic to hiring. And my goal is to hire as many people as possible because that means we are growing and need them. So thanks for that. And Lauren, thanks for your question. I appreciate it. All right. I guess we got time for one more. I know we're running a little longer than a typical episode here. So again, thank you guys for supporting the Chris Donaldson Project. And I'll tell you here at the end how to ask your question, where to find us, and how to support the show. So, well, before that, let's get to the last question because I want to make sure we get to at least 3.
Yeah. So Angela from Twitter asks.
Twitter. I like Twitter.
She says, I finished your online program in June, and now I'm studying for the license exam.
All right. Angela, congrats.
I would like to know how many leads I need to generate to earn $3,000 per month in commissions.
Oh, Lord.
Math.
For those of you that hear math, don't turn this off because we're talking about money, and money is math. But Angela, first of all, congratulations for graduating our real estate school. I'm proud of you. Thank you for reaching out to me on Twitter. Love Twitter. And basically she's asking, like, how many people do I need to reach out to? How much marketing do I need to do to make $3,000? Okay. Angela, I got a couple of answers for you. The first is, why in the heck are you asking that when you don't even have a license yet? And here's what I mean. You're putting the cart before the horse, an old school saying. Go get your license, pass the exam, stay focused, and then get into the what am I going to do to earn business. The second thing is that if you're new to a business like real estate or to insurance sales or car sales, or if you're selling widgets, right? It doesn't matter what it is. We're talking here about good old fashioned sales, which is like the price or the revenue per unit. So she wants to know, like, how much marketing do I have to do to make $3,000? Well, Angela, we don't know what the price is going to be of your first house. We don't know your marketplace. We don't know how much commission, what your brokerage split is, and how much you're going to take home after taxes. There's too little information to know here. So actually, Angela, what I would suggest that you do, in addition to focusing on passing the exam and then building your business, like do this step by step. But once you have your license, if $3,000 is your goal, well, then let's make that a monthly goal, which is $36,000. Now, what you really want to be asking yourself is, how many leads do I need to generate to make $36,000 this year? And now you're like, whoa, I just wanted to make $3,000. No, let's make this an annual goal. Okay. And then the second thing is that if you don't have any numbers, let's look at what other people in our industry are earning. So you can look at the average sales price in the market that you may want to work. Look at what your pricing structure is going to be and get an idea of what you're likely to bring home. But really, I think that what you need to do is to start with the basics, which is when you're new, you need to get as many people to know who you are and what you do as possible, starting with your friends and your family and people that you've done business with before. And as many of them as possible, and then you need to get your name out there by various forms. But if you really need a number, I'm going to bust out the calculator. I don't even know if this is on camera. If you really need a number, if you really need one, this is kind of the way we look at it. By the way, this goes back to your tracking, Art. If you're tracking, then you will know how much you make. You will know your average price, and you'll know sort of those numbers. But if you're first starting out, you kind of just need a guideline. So a general guideline that I've learned and that we use in sales is 40-1, which means you are going to need to talk to, like have intentional real estate conversations, not send out 40 marketing pieces, like sit down and interview, talk to on the phone, 40 people on average to get one commission check. So let's say that your one commission check is $3,000. Well, then Angela, you're going to need to talk to 40 people. And talk to 40 people about real estate that are interested in buying or selling, like a real conversation. So then, well, how many things do I need to do to talk to 40 people? Well, then you need to realize that the bigger your database, your sphere, the more places that you're marketing, the more people that you're talking to, the more conversations you can have, and the more likely you're to talk to 40, which will end up with one. Now, you might get really lucky, depending on your sphere of influence. You might have a bunch of people that are ready to buy. You talk to 10, and then you sell your first house. Like, Angela, you don't know. We don't know yet. So if you're using the 40-1 formula, then if I multiply that by 12, you need to talk to 480 people this year. Get to work. And then once you start making money, you can start to track what your sales are worth, and then you can start to see what's working. You can see your average sales price and so on and so forth. But 3,000 is a great number. It's a great goal. That's likely one house. So you need to talk to 40 people. So then how many people, all right, how many people do I need to be able to have 40 conversations? I don't know, 10 times as many probably. And then how many times do I need to reach out to them? Ooh, the average person, 7 to 15 times. Now you're starting to see your level of action. Right? So to talk to 40 people, I need 400 people in my database. Then I'm going to need to touch them, which is a marketing term, get an email to them, send them a postcard, phone call, text message, 7 to 15 times. So we're looking at 2,800 things you're going to need to do to talk to 40 people to get you to that one $3,000 check. See how I went backwards? So at the end of the day, Angela, remember what I said at the beginning of this podcast, okay? Most people stop a second too soon, and most people are focused on the end goal when you realize massive action, more pipeline building, talk to more people, get your name out there, because the houses are being bought and sold whether you're in there or not. So it's your choice as to whether you're in there. So Angela, good luck. Good luck on the license exam. Thank you so much for your support of the podcast and for hanging out on Twitter. I really appreciate your question. And so again, hopefully that helped you. Don't worry about the price. Make it a goal and then start to work backwards. So guys, I think that's all the time. That's all the questions we have for this edition of the Chris Donaldson Project. So for those of you that are new to the podcast, now this is largely audio. This is podcast. So you can support us on all of your podcast destinations out there. Everything from iTunes to Spotify to Anchor to Stitcher to TuneIn Radio. I mean, you've got a bevy of options. We're on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook. Listen, we do this at no charge. I seriously just want to help you guys learn. I want to help you guys grow. I want to help you learn from the things that we know and from the mistakes that we made and from the things we're going to learn going forward. So the biggest compliment you can give me is to leave a review. Leave a review And when you leave a review, that means give us the 5 stars that we know we deserve for what we're doing for you here, and then write some words. Just clicking 5 stars is great, but writing something like you read the folks did earlier is better. So wherever you consume your content, on iTunes, preferably because that's the biggest one, on audio, but on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Please share it with one friend that may benefit from this. So if you're in real estate sales, send it to your friend that's in mortgage. If you own a bake shop, send it to your friend that sells fish. Like whatever. Send it to a friend that's in a different business that can benefit from this. And then email us at project@thechrisdonaldson.com. Email me, tell me you left a review, send me a link to it. I'd love to hear about it and feature you on the next episode. So guys, thank you for supporting the project. We will be here each and every week. It's a commitment that we've made. Support us, share us with a friend, let us know. And if you want to send a question and you want to be on the next Q&A, so a business, marketing, sales, real estate, anything like that, any one of those spheres, if you want to ask a question, go to thechrisdonaldson.com/project. thechrisdonaldson.com/project. And you can email us at project@thechrisdonaldson.com. Until next time, everybody out there, sincerely stay safe. Hopefully by the time you hear this, that storm blew over and everybody's good. And I will see you next week on the Chris Donaldson Project.